everybody, and welcome to the Triple Threat Talk Australian Open Special. For those of you who watch Triple Threat Talk on a regular basis, we really appreciate it. But we don't get to talk about that much tennis on the show, pretty much because the Doctor and Postmaster Jones aren't huge fans of the sport as I am. So what I'm going to do today is go over the Australian Open 2012 men's bracket, break down who I think is going to eventually become the champion, and pick a winner here. I would go over the women, but a lot of the women that are in the main draw, I did take a look at the bracket. I'm not too familiar with a lot of them, so what I'm going to end up doing is this. On the next episode of Triple Threat Talk, I will recap a little bit what I talked about here today, going from probably the quarterfinals on for the men's, and I will give the same treatment to the women as well. I'll probably go quarterfinals on for the women's bracket as well. That way, with the quarterfinals on the women's side, pretty much more of the familiar names you would know of if you're a fan of tennis in general and women's tennis, you would know who those people are. So I have the brackets right here. So we're going to go for the top half and then the bottom half, and we're going to pick a winner here. So let's get started. So the first match we have here is Novak Djokovic, who is the #1 seed, taking on the Italian Paolo Lorenzi. If I butchered that name, I apologize. But you have to go with Djokovic here. He's playing the best tennis right now. He is the #1 player in the world, and he is the defending champion. So I definitely would pencil in Djokovic for that one. So the next match you have is the Colombian Santiago Geraldo is playing a qualifier. Now, you don't know who's going to come out of the qualifiers, but usually for those people that don't really know the game of tennis, or tournaments in general, more often than not, I would go with the guy who's not the qualifier just to pencil him, just because I think that's the one who's going to win. If he's made the tournament, he's going to be a fresher player. He doesn't have to play, the matches to qualify. So I'm going to have to go with Geraldo in that one. So the next match we have is Podio Starace taking on Nicolas Mahut. Now, Nicolas Mahut, he's got the energy. If you're tennis fans, you know that. He played that marathon match with John Isner at Wimbledon a couple years ago. So he's definitely got the stamina, but I'm going to have to go with the upset here. I'm going to have to go with Starace in that one. I think Starace's the better player right now. I think he's playing a lot better. So the next match we have here is... I apologize. This is the bracket. Sorry. Starace is playing the Japanese player Tatsumo Ito, and I still pick Starace for the same reasons I said. Sorry about that. But Radek Stepanek is playing Nicolas Mahut, and again, Mahut's a great player, but Stepanek is the 29th ranked player in this tournament. I think Stepanek's playing a lot better tennis than he has been recently, so I'm going to have to go with Stepanek in that one, put Stepanek over Mahut there. So next is the young Canadian Milos Raonic, who's playing very well recently, is taking on Filippo Volandri of Italy. Raonic is the 23rd seed in this tournament. I think Raonic is an up-and-comer. He's a youngster. He's got a lot of potential. I'm definitely going to pencil him in there. I pick Raonic in that one. Then you have Filip Pechner, taking on Lukas Rosol of the Czech Republic. Pechner's he's a crafty veteran player. He's been around a long time. I think Pechner is going to take this one as well, so I am going to pencil in Pechner in there. Next match is one that's near and dear to my heart because I'm a huge fan of his. You have Cedric Marcel Stebe of Germany taking on one of my favorite tennis players, if not my favorite tennis player of all time, Leighton Hewitt. It's a shame to see what's happened to Hewitt in the past couple of years. I mean, he did make the finals of the Australian Open in 2005. That seems like ages ago. I'd like to see Hewitt make another run here. We'll see what happens with the bracket. But in this one, I'm picking Hewitt over Stebe from Germany. So next you have Robin Haase taking on the number 15 seed. Roddick usually comes into the tournaments as the #1 ranked American. This time that's not the case. He's ranked 15th in the tournament. But I'm going to have to go with Roddick here over Haase in that one. So next up is a tough one to pick. Janko Tipsarevic of Serbia takes on Dmitry Tursunov. Now, I've seen Tursunov play when he was in the qualifiers a couple of years ago. He's got a good game, but Tipsarevic is playing very well. He played Djokovic a couple times last year and had close matches with him. So in that case, I'm going to have to put Tipsarevic over Tursunov in that matchup. So next one is another qualifier. James Duckworth taking a qualifier. I penciled in Duckworth there. Mikhail Yuzny is playing a qualifier. I put Yuzny in that one. Richard Gasquet, this is not an easy match. He plays Andreas Seppi, who's very, very crafty, very, very good player. But Gasquet's backhand is very well. He's a very sound player, very fit player. I like Gasquet to win this one. He likes the hard court. I picked Gasquet. Let's see here. You have Juan Ignacio Chela taking on the American Michael Russell. Chela, another old-time player. He's been there a long time. Chela, 27th ranked in this tournament. I like to go with Chela in this one. So next you have, let's see, Igor, I'm not going to get this name right, Igor Kunitsin taking on Pablo Andahar. I've seen Andahar play a couple matches last year. He looks very, very good to me, so that's why I put Andahar in there. Then you have Matthias Bechinger, I think that's the name, from Germany, taking on Ryan Sweeting of the USA. And just based on, I haven't really seen much of Bechinger from Germany. I've seen a lot from Sweeting, and he seems like he's going to take this one here, so I'm going to pick Sweeting. Then you have Rui Mikado taking on David Ferrer, the 5th seed. How can you go wrong with Ferrer here? Ferrer's got he's like the new Hewitt to me. He's a crafty counter puncher. He's quick. He gets a lot of balls. I'm gonna go with Ferrer here. He's playing very, very well. The 4th seed, Andy Murray, taking on Ryan Harrison, who was the subject of one of our skits last year. Didn't go too well, I thought. But all that tomfoolery aside, as I like to say, I go with Murray here. Murray is definitely one of the favorites in this tournament to win his first Grand Slam title. So next you have Xavier Malisse from Belgium taking on Edouard Roger Veselin. I apologize if I butcher that name. Malisse, he's a very good player. He's had a lot of credible wins in his career. I like Malisse to take this one. Ernest Golbis is taking on Daniel Jimeno Traver of Spain. I like Ernest Golbis' chances. Even though he's not ranked anymore, he has been ranked in the past. I do like Golbis' chances in this one. And then you have Ernest Golbis plays... See, the brackets... It's the way the bracket looks that's confusing me. Sorry. Ernest Golbis plays Michael Lodra, and I still take Golbis for the same reasons. Alex Bogomolov Jr. from Russia takes on Daniel Jimeno Traver, and I pick Bogomolov. I apologize for the bracket. The bracket's very close up. Next round's going to be more organized. I apologize. So next you have a tough match here. It was tough to pick this one. You have Victor Troitsky, the 19th seed, taking on Juan Carlos Ferrero. He is not ranked Ferrero, but Ferrero is a very good player. For those of you who are big fans of tennis, former French Open champion, made it to the finals of the U.S. Open where he lost to Andy Roddick. I picked Ferrero in this one. I think Ferrero's going to stun Troitsky, even though Troitsky is the 19th seed. I like Ferrero in this one. So next you have Guillermo Garcia Lopez taking on Mikhail Kukushkin. That's an awesome name to say, Kukushkin. I picked Garcia Lopez in this one. I think he's playing very well. I'm not too familiar with Kukushkin, just the fact of his name. But I think Garcia Lopez is one I put in this one. Next you have Thomas Bellucci, very tall, very good server player from Brazil. Guy I see in the top 20 very soon. Taking on Dudy Sela, who I've heard of the name, but not too familiar with his play. I put Bellucci in there. He's playing very well. Last year he had a great year, I believe. Great serve, good tall player. He sometimes let his emotions get the best of him. That's why I think he lost some matches last year that he should have won. But for this match, I put Bellucci over Kukushkin. Then you have Marinko Matsovic taking on Gael Monfils. And Gael Monfils is somebody I have very far in this bracket, just looking at it before I started filming this today. I like Monfils' chances. He beat Nadal in that tournament in Doha to get to the finals against Tsonga. So I think Monfils is playing very well, very good tennis at this point in his career. I like Monfils in this one. Then you have the Frenchman, Gilles Simon, who's playing a qualifier. I picked Gilles Simon in that one. Then you have Julian Benneteau versus Carol Beck. Benetow's Benetow's been around a long time, so I'm just going to go with Benneteau in that one. Then you have Hoyt Souza taking on Matthew Ebden. I have no idea who these people are. I just picked Souza. I just picked Souza. I don't know why I picked him. So I picked that one. Next you have, I think he's French, so I would say Stéphane Robert from France takes on Kei Nishikori, and Nishikori is the 24th seed. He's playing very well as well. I think he's got a bright future. Also, he's had some credible wins in his career, so I'm going to have to pencil Nishikori in that one. Then you have a tough match here, but a tough one to pick. Marcel Granollers, the veteran from Spain, who's a 26th seed, taking on Jesse Levine from the United States. Levine's been practicing with a lot of United States guys like the Bryan brothers and Andy Roddick to get the practice during like the Davis Cup and stuff like that. So it was tough to pick, but I like Jesse Levine to cause the upset. I think he's going to stun some people and pick up the win over Granollers. Then you have, let's see, Ivan Dodig versus Federico Gil. I poked Dodig in that one. I'm not too familiar with either of them, but I think I've heard of Dodig. And I think he's a pretty solid player. Then you have qualifier Ricardo Mello. I picked Ricardo Mello just to qualify. And then you have Dennis Eastelman against Joel Wilfried Tsonga in the final match of the top half of the bracket, and I put Tsonga in there. Okay, so then let's go over to the second round of the top half. We'll go the bottom half here in a little bit once we get through the top half of the bracket. Djokovic will take on Geraldo. Djokovic, no explanation needed. Starocci would take on Stepanek. I like Stepanek. Raonic would take on Pechner. I like Raonic in that one. Hewitt and Roddick, there's a lot of personal history here. They've had a lot of issues in the past on the court. But I think Hewitt, his game is not big enough as it used to be to take out someone like Roddick. I put Roddick over Hewitt in that one. Tipsarevic is playing Duckworth. I'm not so familiar with Duckworth, but I am familiar with Tipsarevic, and he's got a good game, so I put Tipsarevic in that one. Uzny playing Gasquet, a very interesting matchup. Uzny was in the top 8, I believe, at one point in his career. Gasquet, not up to expectations with some Frenchmen. They figure he'd have some Grand Slams by this point. A junior Grand Slam champion when he was in juniors. But I like Gasquet in this one to pick up the win over Uzny. Chela versus Andahar, I take the veteran in Chela. Ferrer versus Sweeting, I go with Ferrer. Murray and Malise, I pick Andy Murray. Ernest Gulbis versus Bogomolov, I like Gulbis to pull the upset, even though it's pretty even, but I like Gulbis in this one. Ferrero and Garcia Lopez, I like Ferrero. He's playing very, very well. Ferrero's playing very, very well here. Then you have Bellucci and Monfils. Even though I praised Bellucci earlier about his great serve, I think Monfils is playing the best tennis of his career, and I put Monfils over Bellucci in that one. Gilles Simon takes on Beneteau. Simon is the 12th seed here, and I don't see him having any problems with Beneteau. Maybe a set or two, but I like Simon in the end. Nishikori is taking on Souza here that I had. Souza. I take Nishikori. Jesse Levine is playing Dodig. I like Levine to pick up another win. And then Tsonga is playing Mello. I like Tsonga. So the third round now, you have Djokovic and Stepanek. I like Djokovic. Raonic and Roddick. I pick Roddick. Tipsarevic and Gasquet is going to be a very even match. Could possibly go 5 sets. But I think Gasquet's fitness is just a little bit better than Tipsarevic's. So that's why I put Gasquet over Tipsarevic in that one. Ferrer and Chela. I like Ferrer. Again, he is the 5th seed. I think he's playing very well. Murray and Gulbis. I think Gulbis is going to cause some problems for Murray, but in the end, I think Murray picks up the win. Monfils and Ferrero. That's going to be a very good matchup, but like I said, I think Monfils is playing outstanding tennis, especially with, like I said, with the win over Nadal in straight sets in Doha before the Australian Open. So I like Monfils in that one. Simon and Nishikori. I think Simon is going to beat Nishikori in that one, and it's a shame. It's going to be a good match for Levine, a good test for Tsonga, but in the end, I think Tsonga picks up the win here. The veteran in Tsonga is going to overtake the rookie in Jesse Levine. So now you have the final 8 here. The 4th round, Djokovic and Roddick, going to be a blockbuster matchup. It's going to be close, but I think Djokovic, being the #1 player and the defending champion, beats Roddick in that one. Gasquet and Ferrer, I think Ferrer beats out Gasquet. Again, the 4th round on, they're very, very excellent matches. So I think Ferrer is going to beat Gasquet in that one. Murray and Monfils, I have Gael Monfils beating Andy Murray in the 4th round. I think Monfils is, like I said, Monfils is playing the best tennis of his career. I mean, Murray wants that Grand Slam. Don't get me wrong. Murray is one of the better players without a Grand Slam. He is the 4th ranked player. People are wondering when he is going to win a Grand Slam, but I'm sorry. Right now, Monfils is the hotter player. I like Monfils in this one. And Tsonga and Simon, I like the Frenchman to match up in the quarterfinals. I like Tsonga to beat Simon, and it's going to be a Monfils-Tsonga matchup in the quarters. So now you have Djokovic taking on Ferrer in the first quarterfinal of the top half. I like Djokovic. It's going to be a tough test for Djokovic, but I still like Djokovic to make it to the semifinals the semifinals of the tournament. And then Monfils and Tsonga, I'll say it again. Monfils is playing outstanding. I think he's going to beat Tsonga. It could go 5 sets just because these two are so good. But I think Monfils wins that one. And then the semifinal, the semifinal of the top half, Djokovic and Monfils. I would predict this could go 4 or 5 sets. I don't see it being a straight set victory for Djokovic, but in the end I picked Djokovic in that one. So Djokovic is in the finals of the Australian Open, and who will he play? We're going to go over that right now in the bottom half of the bracket. So, first match is Marty Fish versus Gilles Muller. Fish is the top-ranked American in this tournament. He is the 8th-ranked player. Fish is playing better. Muller's a good player as well, definitely from Luxembourg. But I like Fish in this one, the American, to win that one. This is a very good matchup between two players that are not ranked but have a interesting history, not between them but in the sport. Alejandro Falla taking on Fabio Fognini. Falla is the man who almost beat Federer at Wimbledon a couple years ago. He gave him a test. And Fognini is I guess you could say the marathon man who's played that match against Monfils at the French Open where the lights were out and he really couldn't see, and Fognini ended up winning that match. So this is going to be a 5-setter. Don't kid yourself. This is going to go 5 sets. Fognini and Falla, but I like Fognini to win in the 5th set in that one. So now you have Albert Montoyas taking on Per Riba from Spain. Let's see here. I like Montoyas in that one to beat Pierre Riba from Spain. Then you have Kohlschreiber and Monaco. This was a tough one to pick for me, but I think Kohlschreiber has a bigger game than Monaco, so I put Kohlschreiber in there. This is another tough one I put. Florian Mayer takes on Liu from Chinese Taipei. Hey, Liu had some. I think Liu was the one who beat Roddick a couple years ago at the US Open, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, I think Liu's game is a little bit bigger, and I think he's going to upset Mayer here, and Liu's going to move on in that one. You have the Belgian Steve Darcis, who's a very good player, but he's playing a qualifier, so I put in Darcis in that one. Then you have Biaz Kavicic from Slovakia is playing a qualifier. I put Kavicic in that one. I believe that's his name, Kavicic. Then you have Adrian Manarino. That's a good name, Manarino from France takes on the Argentine, the Grand Slam champion from the U.S. Open, Juan Martín Del Potro. I like Del Potro. He's coming off the injury, but I think he's going to play well this tournament, and I like Del Potro to get pretty far there. Then you have a guy I am starting to really enjoy his game. He's got a great game. He's 13th ranked in this tournament. He's playing great tennis. I have him going pretty far too. Alexander Dolgopolov from the Ukraine takes on Greg Jones. I have to go with Dolgopolov. His game is very good right now. He's a player to watch out for. I say top 10 by the end of the year, I would suspect. Then you have Tobias Kamke versus Victor Hanescu. I'm more familiar with Hanescu than I am with Kamke, so I'm going to have to go with Hanescu in that one. Then you have Kenny Deschapper, I think that's his name, he's from France. Takes on Sam Querrey. I like Querrey in that one. Querrey is not playing as well as he used to play, but I think if Querrey can get his serve in and volley very well, I think Querrey can win that one. Then you have this is a tough one. I actually was going back and forth on who I think would win this one. You have Fernando Verdasco, the 22nd seed, takes on Bernard Tomic from Australia, who the Australians think he is the next great player from Australia, since Hewitt isn't what he used to be anymore. So it's a tough one, but I picked Verdasco in this one. But I could see going either way. But I just like Verdasco's game a little bit better than Tomic, just because Verdasco has more experience than Tomic does. So then you have Dr. Ivo Karlovic, who has one of the best serves in the game. Such a big pop on serve. The guy's like 7 foot tall, it seems like. He's a very tall player. Takes on Jürgen Meltzer, who's the 31st seed. I like Ivo Karlovic. His serve is outstanding. He plays really tough points. Karlovic, he's pretty good for a tall player, but the thing is, when he plays somebody, it's usually like a lot of tie breaks. So I like Karlovic in this one to win this one, just because his serve is so dominant. And you have Carlos Burlock versus a qualifier. I went with Burlock here. And you have Andreas Beck takes on Eric Prodon. I picked Beck. I'm a little bit familiar with Beck. I'm a little bit more familiar with Beck than I am with this guy Prodon, so I'm gonna put Beck in there. Then you have a qualifier who's playing some guy named Roger Federer. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. He's pretty good, so I put Federer over the qualifier on that one. You have Tomas Berdych, who made it to Wimbledon final a couple years ago, lost to Nadal, I believe. Takes on Albert Ramos from Spain. I penciled in, or penned in, Berdych in that one. Then you have Olivier Rochus, takes on a qualifier. I put Rochus. But I'm familiar with Rochus, so either way, I think Rochus would win that one. Then you have Sergei Stahovsky, who's playing a qualifier. I like Stahovsky. Then you have Ken Anderson, who's playing a qualifier. I like Anderson. Then you have Warwincka, who's playing Benoit Paire from France. I like Warwincka. Warwincka's got one of the best one-handed backhands in the game. Probably, I'd say behind Federer's one-handed backhand's one of the better ones too, but I'd put his one-handed backhand's very, very good, Warwincka, so I have to put him in over that one. Then you have a tough match here. Marcos Baghdatis takes on Benjamin Becker. Benjamin Becker, if you don't know, he's the one who played Agassi in his last match in the U.S. Open when Agassi retired. But the thing about Baghdatis has a lot of support from the Cypriots, that are in Australia, because remember when Baghdatis made his big run in the Australian Open, he had a lot of support. He made it all the way to the finals and lost to Roger Federer, just like everybody else does. So I put Baghdatis in that one over Benjamin Becker. And you have Jeremy Chardet from France takes on Grigor Dimitrov from Bulgaria. Bulgaria, I believe that's the country on the bracket. I put Chardet in that one. I'm more familiar with Chardet than I am with Dimitrov. And Chardet's got a good game, so he should win that one. Then you have Lukasz Kubat takes on Nicholas Almagro, the 10th seed. And Almagro last year was his breakout year. He played very, very well last year. And look out for Almagro to make some noise in this this Australian Open. So maybe he'll make noise at the U.S. Open. We don't know. But as far as the Australian Open goes, I like Almagro in that one over Kubat. And you have John Isner, the marathon man, who played the longest match ever played at Wimbledon over Nicholas Mahut. Takes on a veteran, David Nalban. Oh, sorry, that's the next round. Sorry. John Isner takes on Benjamin Mitchell. I like John Isner in that one. John Isner, he's 16th seed. He's playing very well. Good serve, good volley. He's pretty quick for a big guy, so I like Isner in that one. And obviously, this is no surprise. Jarko Nieminen takes on David Nalbandian. I said I picked Nalbandian to play Isner, so obviously I would pick Nalbandian in this one. It's probably going to go 5 sets just because that's Nalbandian's MO. He loses the first 2 sets, then he comes back and wins the 5th one. Niemanen's a tough player, so that's probably what's going to happen. Nalbandian's going to probably drop the first 2 sets and end up winning it in 5, like he sometimes does. So, and you have Leonardo Meyer takes on Nikolai Davydenko. Davydenko has been out for some time. There's obviously that thing with the betting a couple years ago with the illegal betting on him. He used to be ranked like 3rd in the world, I believe. He's dropped off, pretty far. But I do have Davydenko winning that match. Then you have, Davydenko plays Flavio Cipolla. I apologize, but I picked Davydenko anyway. And you have Feliciano Lopez takes on Leonardo Meyer from Argentina. I like Feliciano Lopez. He's got a very good game. He's played Nadal a couple times last year, and he played Murray last year, I believe, in a pretty even match at Wimbledon, and Murray was the winner on that one. But I like Lopez's game here. Then you have Ivan Lubicic, who's playing a qualifier. I like Lubicic. Donald Young, who's playing a qualifier. I like Donald Young. Tommy Haas is playing a qualifier. I like Tommy Haas. And then Nadal, the 2nd seed, is playing a qualifier. I like Nadal. So now let's run down the 2nd round in the bottom half of the draw. I apologize if you. I'll show you the link where I got the bracket from. It's very hard to read the first round. It's very bunched up together. So with all that being said, moving to the 2nd round now. I have Marty Fish playing Fabio Fognini. Just based on what I said earlier about Fognini, he's going to be playing the 5 sets. He's going to be winded. It's going to be very, very hot in Australian Open, as it always is in Australia this time of year. So I'm going to pick Marty Fish in that one over Fognini. Then you have Albert Montias and Philip Kohlschreiber. I like Kohlschreiber. Lou takes on Steve Darcis. I like Lou for the upset in that one. I think Darcis might be favored, but I think Lou is going to pick up the win. You have Kavcic versus Del Potro. Del Potro's game is very, very, very big. I like him in that one. Dolgopolov and Hanescu. I like Dolgopolov. His game is, he's like I said, he's easily a top 10 player this year. Maybe top 5 somewhere along the line. He's playing very, very well, Dolgopolov. Sam Querrey takes on Fernando Verdasco. Querrey's game is not going to match up with Verdasco's very well. Verdasco is a lefty. He's going to cause Querrey a lot of problems, especially Verdasco's wicked forehand. I like Verdasco in that one. Ivo Karlovic takes on Burlock. Karlovic is going to win the same way he won the first match with big serving and good volleying play. I like Karlovic in that one. Then you have Federer versus Beck. I pick Federer. No explanation needed. Berdych takes on Olivier Rochus. I think Berdych is playing pretty well. He's a 7th ranked player in this tournament. I think Berdych picks up the win in that one. Then you have Stochowski takes on Anderson, and I like Anderson in that one. This is one that was also a tough one for me to pick. Stanislaw Wawrinka takes on Marcos Baghdatis, and I think Baghdatis has a lot of support down there, as I said earlier, from the crowd. I think Baghdatis is going to play very well here. He always plays well. It seems he always plays well at the Australian Open, so I'm going to have to give Baghdatis the win over Wawrinka. Chardet takes on Almagro. I think Almagro, just the fact that he's ranked top 10, he's got a lot of confidence behind him. I'm going to have to go with Almagro. John Isner and David Nalbandian. This isn't the same Nalbandian that was in the Wimbledon final against Leighton Hewitt and has been in quarterfinals ever so often. So I have to go with Isner. I think his game is higher right now than Nalbandian's is. Davydenko takes on Feliciano Lopez. I don't think Davydenko wins this one. I think Lopez is playing better. I think Davydenko's on like a downward slope, as you can say, for his career. So I'm going to pick Lopez. Don Young and Ljubicic, that's going to be a good matchup. I think Young, his game has progressed more than it has been in the last couple of seasons or years in tennis, or whatever you want to call it, seasons, years. I think Young's going to pull up the upset here. I think Young's playing a lot better than he has been recently, and I think he beats Ljubicic. And then Nadal and Haas, probably one of the better second round matchups I can see on the charts here as far as star power is concerned. But I think Nadal, he's playing healthy. He's healthy this time around. Usually, sometimes his knees are kind of giving out or what have you. But I think Nadal wins this one over Marty Fish. So now the third round, you have Marty Fish takes on Philip Kohlschreiber. I like Fish in this one. He's got a lot of confidence behind him since he is the top-ranked American player. He played very well at the end of last season, and I think that comes into this season as well. I think Fish beats Kohlschreiber. Lou takes on Del Potro. This is going to be a tough test for Del Potro. See how he plays, because he was out for a little bit with an injury. But I think Del Potro wins this one over Lou. Dolgopolov versus Verdasco. Probably my most exciting matchup in the third round that I can see looking at the brackets, both of them top half and bottom. Dolgopolov's game, I'm a big fan of Dolgopolov. I think he's proven that he's got a lot of game, Dolgopolov, and I think he takes it to Verdasco. I picked Dolgopolov to win that one. Federer and Karlovic. Karlovic will test Federer because Karlovic's service is so dominant. But I think Federer overall, he's playing a lot better than he has been in the recent months, especially since he won the year-end championship in December and started getting a little momentum back. He was 4 at one point. He was 4 at one point last year, but he's third again. I think Federer reclaims his dominance and shows that he's not going away anytime soon, and he beats Karlovic. But he will be tested though. That he will be tested. Tomas Berdych will take on we're taking on Ken Anderson. I like Berdych in that one. Berdych is the 7th ranked player, and he's playing very well as of late. Baghdatis takes on Almagro. I couldn't put Baghdatis in this one. I think Almagro has the better game, the bigger game, as he's the top 10 player. He's playing better tennis at this point. So I put Almagro in that one. Isner versus Lopez. I think they both have good serves. Both of these guys have very, very powerful serves. But I think the volley play is going to have to come into play for Isner in this one. And I think that is what propels him to victory over Lopez. And Don Young's going to play Nadal. I see Young playing Nadal very tough. But I think Nadal pretty much disposes of him pretty quickly. I'd say maybe straight sets, maybe 4 if Young could maybe get some rallies going with Nadal, maybe push him a little bit. But I think Nadal has really no problems here with Mr. Donald Young. So then you move on to the fourth round here. Again, the fourth round in the bottom half of the draw. You have Marty Fish taking on Juan Martín del Potro, a very exciting matchup. But I think in the end, Fish is playing a lot better now than Del Potro is, just because he's coming off the injury. He's trying to get back into the swing of things. But overall, I have to go with Marty Fish. A matchup I am looking forward to, a match I am going to pencil in and make sure I am glued to the television screen, computer screen, wherever I can watch this match. I'm going to make sure I am there to watch it. Dolgopolov takes on Federer. This match could easily go 4 or 5 sets. These guys, Federer, obviously the better player. But Dolgopolov, I think, will push him just because Dolgopolov's game is so good. He's quick. His ground strokes are great. But I think Federer wins this one just because it's Federer. But it'll be a tough match for Federer, absolutely. Tomas Berdych takes on Almagro. I think Berdych is playing a little bit better right now than Almagro is. Almagro and Berdych, these fourth round matches on both sides of the bracket, all good players. But one player is going to do more than the other, and I like Berdych in that one over Almagro and Nadal and Isner. Now remember, the French Open last year, Isner pushed Nadal, and Isner almost won that match. He lost in 5 sets. But this is a hardcore surface which favors Isner. But I still like to go with Nadal. This could go 5 sets again, but I like Nadal on that one. So now you have the quarterfinals on the bottom half of the draw. You have Marty Fish takes on Roger Federer, and I like Federer to beat Fish in that one and get to the semifinals. And look what we have here. Rafael Nadal takes on Tomas Berdych. Replay of the Wimbledon final, and the winner is going to be the same. I like Rafael Nadal on that one. And then look what you have here. The semifinals on the bottom half. You have Mr. Federer and Mr. Nadal. What a rivalry these two have had the last couple of years. But I think the outcome this time is different. I think Federer is playing better. A lot of people like Federer to win this Australian Open this year. And I think Federer beats Nadal to get to the final. So now, 2 brackets are completed. You have the finals. You have Roger Federer, the third player in the world, third-ranked player in the world, takes on the number 1 player in the world, Novak Djokovic. It's going to be a tremendous final. Djokovic and Federer are no strangers to each other. They played last year. Federer ended Djokovic's winning streak at the French Open. Djokovic came back from 2-0 down to beat Federer in the U.S. Open en route to winning his U.S. Open last year. Federer, he's going to reclaim his dominance. The king is not dead. Long live the king. I say Federer wins the Australian Open, defeating Novak Djokovic, and I say it goes 4 sets. So, that wraps up the Australian Open 2012. As I said, I like Federer over Djokovic in the finals in 4 sets. It's going to be a great tournament. Tune into ESPN, ESPN2, the Tennis Channel for live coverage of the Australian Open. You can also go to ESPN3.com. I will post the links below to wherever you want to watch this. It is available. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Post your comments. Who do you think is going to win the Australian Open? Post your questions to me. I'll be happy to answer them. And as I stated earlier, this coming week, when we do Triple Threat Talk, there'll be 3 of us here. When we do Triple Threat Talk, I will go over the quarterfinals again and say again who I think is going to win. And then I'll also go over the women's bracket, quarterfinals on, so you can get a sense of the women's bracket as well, because I know there's fans out there who enjoy women's tennis as well as men's tennis. So I want to thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all the comments and subscribers that we all get every week for Triple Threat Talk. This is Big B signing off. Enjoy the Australian Open.